This
So, welcome along to our information session for Leading for Legacy. Thanks to everybody who's joined to have a conversation with us today, and there's no doubt going to be people listening on catch up afterwards. Today, really, is just to help you learn a little bit more about what this program is, hear from some of our past participants, and see if it's something that you or people you know may be interested in applying for. My name's Nicola. I run Flourish Together. We're one of the original founding organisations that co-designed this programme. It's been designed by Flourish Together and She Leads for Legacy. Some of you may know Sharon Amesu. She's in the middle of this photo with her daughter Afia. Some of you may have met before. And Sharon and I designed this programme. Have delivered it for the last number of years, and Flourish have currently taken it on as lead partner to convene and deliver the programme. Sharon will be joining us later in the year to take part in some of the programme days. I'll come back to that shortly. Um, what's happening? So, really, we're just going to give a little bit of an overview of what this programme is all about. We're going to hear a couple of reflections from a couple of our past participants, and there'll be options for questions. Um, I'm going to give you a few overview bits of information around. I guess, evaluation from previous years, not War and Peace, but just to help you see some of the benefits that other people have found from this programme to see if this is the sort of thing that you want to be part of. We'll try and share some tips on strengthening, applications because it is a competitive process, and any final reflections and next steps. So, as I say, if you've got questions, feel free to put those in the chat, and then we will pause for some questions a little bit later on. What is this all about? Ultimately, Leading for Legacy, it's a 9 month intensive and experiential learning programme. We really do bring together all sorts of public, private, and community leaders, very strategic leaders, public facing leaders. Of all sorts of backgrounds and all sorts of areas of interest so that people can up their game and learn more about what it means to be a civic and social leader in Greater Manchester and beyond. And people really will find that it's a combination of skills and awareness raising. There's all sorts of different kinds of impact and progression that people may go into. Although we have a focus on public appointments, which we'll talk more about shortly, it's a very sort of holistic leadership programme for people from diverse cultural backgrounds, particularly focused on those from global majority communities, to help address inequalities. In strategic leadership positions and diversify people who might be going into public appointments and make sure representation and the broad range of views, talents, and passions of our diverse communities of Greater Manchester get met. Um, a big part of the programme is about building connections, looking at influencing and accessing support. And along the way, right from the very start, from your expressions of interest right through to a pre-programme application if you're selected, and throughout the programme, it really is tailored to help you look at your own personal goals and milestones and lead your own journey over the coming year, should you get on the programme. So, what do the 9 months look like, give or take? You'll be aware, because you've come to this session, that the call out is currently live for applications, and we've got a month. You've got a month to go. Basically, the 30th of April is the deadline for applications or expressions of interest, as we call them. We'll be making decisions following an independent panel who will review all applications and then select a shortlist to join the programme of around 30 people. Those 30 people are representative of all 10 boroughs of Greater Manchester. So we seek to take at least two people from every borough across Greater Manchester and then a handful more. And they then ultimately join a programme of leadership development. And the first day starts, these are kind of dates for your diary, should you get on the programme. They're on Thursdays. It's typically a sort of 9 till 4:30 or 9 till 4 kind of programme. And this here gives you a flavour of some of the themes that come up. So in June, it's like an immersion and launch day where we onboard people onto the programme. We help them reflect on what they're wanting to gain from it, connecting with their peers who they're going to be working with over the coming months. And it's a day where we introduce people to their local authority leads, often diversity and inclusion leads, or other colleagues across local authorities who champion and support this programme. We then get into really helping you look at your own development journey, where we'll be looking at leading with purpose and systems leadership. That's a day where a fantastic leader called Jackie Bailey gets involved. For anyone, I don't know if you've ever met Jackie Bailey from BU Coaching, it's a personal development organisation. She will be with us for a number of programme days supporting the programme this year, as will somebody called June Williams, who supports us around some of the resilience and self-care type sessions. And on day 3, you really start to get into, what it means to be a leader for you. What are the different kinds of leadership styles out there? Um, and how are you evolving yourself, your values, and your self-care? We then get into looking at, personal and professional resilience. And then there's a fantastic day in November. Sharon Amesu will be leading that one, all about public speaking. It really is a public speaking masterclass with Sharon to help people be bold, be clear and concise, and learn how to communicate with influence and impact. And then the programme wraps up with a graduation day. And we hopefully celebrate the stages that people are at that point in the programme. And it's been amazing to see what can happen in a short space of time, as you'll come to hear from our 2 guests in just a second. What I will say is this year is that we will be having some of our alumni network get actively involved in some of the programme days. What I mean by that is people who've been on the programme day before. People who've been on the programme days before will come and host and support aspects of the programme, so you can get more actively connected to them. We've got a range of other leaders, not least Sharon, who will come back for a programme day, Jackie and June, who I've mentioned, but other senior leaders. We're hoping to have Saeed Akcha, who leads the Youth Leads programme, which is the more, I wouldn't say junior, but a younger end of the leadership spectrum, where people, I guess, up to the age of sort of 25 to 30, may be more suited to the Youth Leads Civic Leadership programme, and Saeed will hopefully get involved there. Along with a broad range of other speakers, from political to media to thematic strategic leaders and people who are on various public appointments. Oh, something's gone a bit strange there. Can people still see me and hear me? Laptop just went odd.
Yes,
Oh,
we
good.
can hear you.
That's good. It
Yeah,
just
we
all
can hear you,
That's good.
Nicola.
It all flashed and went funny for a minute. I think the only other quick things to add on the programme, and I can answer questions later because we want to get on to hearing from our guests. The programme days are just one part of it. They're a really deep and thorough kind of way that the programme runs to help you explore your own selves, hear from other people, and create your own action plans. But we have other things in place to help you and to help the programme have the best chance of success. One of those is these peer support circles. So after the first few programme days, we tend to do these in an evening, just to give people a chance to get their, working day or, family and everything, busy day out the way, so that they can then come and join us to reflect and further connect and access additional peer support. So those are an expectation that people would attend those as well as part of alongside the main programme. Behind the scenes, in order to make this programme a success, we also work with our local authorities because there's no shortage of talent from Black, Asian, and other culturally diverse backgrounds who this programme is aimed at to want to seek to amplify their impact, grow their leadership potential, and lead change. But alongside our programme participants, we're working actively with local authorities and other local infrastructure organisations and other champions who have shared values around what this program's all around to help them look at how we can help people progress in their leadership journey, look at what opportunities are coming up that people can tap into, um, and make sure that people have the best chance of success in engaging with people who they would benefit from as part of the program. And then, last but not least, I alluded to it before, but for the last 2 years, we've been growing this alumni network. So once people have been on the program, they then become part of the alumni, and we have currently five ambassadors who lead a range of wider peer networking opportunities, help with appointment support, and listen in to what the support needs and interests of the cohorts are so that we can create other events around the edges, fringe events and training beyond the core program that people can keep connected and keep attending. And what I would say is whether you're successful with the program or not, there are ways to connect with some of the alumni network events. We don't want to close the door on people, and we can only take around 30 on each program. So we are constantly working with our alumni network to see what else and how else we can build this movement and join the dots across other networks, because we know this isn't the only network in town for leaders looking at civic and social opportunities. So hopefully that gives you a flavour of what's coming, and we will be sharing these slides with you afterwards. I know that was a question there. So hopefully that's given a flavour. I think without any further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I'm going to invite our colleagues to come and speak. We've got a Hiz from New Wine Nation, and he will share a little bit about what's brought him onto the program and how he's found it. And also Noreen Shazad. I hope I described you right here, Noreen. When I was looking back when you were joining the program, obviously Noreen's a nurse, she's a health professional, but she's also a community organisation founder and I believe a local councillor now. So I might come to his first if I can. I'll just stop sharing so we can see a little bit better. And his, I would just come to you. Can you hear me, his?
Hi, Nicola, can you hear me?
Hi there you are. So yeah, we'll come to Noreen in just a second, but I appreciate you both giving your time. And really, I can say all sorts about the program, but you've been through it, you and Noreen. So it'd be great to hear what brought you onto the program in the first place, and how you found it.
Firstly, thank you, Nicola, for this opportunity. The program, I happened to be at an International Women's Day event, and bumped into um, I bumped into Nicola,
Mhm.
and you know, I was able to share the things that New Wine Nation are doing in the community, and um, you did tell me that I could actually leverage on some opportunities, and I checked out what the program was all about, and we lead for legacy, and just looking at the shared values and the potential to lead, and just to grow in my leadership development journey as well. I thought that there was shared alignment. So um, again, with my lived experience and with the lived experience I bring to the table, I thought I could bring to the table in terms of how I could use that to influence um, governance, how things work. Because with New Wine Nation, as you mentioned, we have what an organization that focuses on unlocking potential in young people. And, some of the modules in the We Lead for Legacy program, such as systems thinking, that really helped us to learn how to be more effective using the system, working with the system, engaging with civic leaders. Um, yeah, so just the different modules, sparked a bit of interest, and yeah, so
That's
share
what's
the
brought you
line.
on. I might just come to Noreen to just hear, where were you at when you first started the program, Noreen, and how have you found it?
Thank you so much, Nicola, to giving me this opportunity. And I'm very grateful to have completed this program. The question is what brought me here. Actually, one of my friend, she's a counselor. She recommended this course to me, and firstly, I ignored. I thought, I don't know, it is right program for me or not. Then another person, I mean, he's a counselor as well. He sent me this email. I said it's really good for you if you will go with that. The reason is because I'm working with community for the last 20 years, over 20 years. I set up two women community group, women empowerment group. One is leading women in business, so all small businesses lady, and the other one is Omid. A community women group. Omid mean hope. So the ladies who are very isolate from their community, especially South Asian women, they are really isolate and they're suffering with the depression, anxiety, other mental health illnesses. So I want to active them. And so I was working in community already. And by profession, I'm a senior nurse in local hospital. So and union activist as well, union activist, hospital governor. So all these roles I was playing, and the counselors, they were encouraging me to go for this program. It will be very good for you, because I was doing all these roles, but still I was stuck. I was not sure where to go next. So I was really stuck that time, and it looks like I'm sending messages to universe. I need some help, some people, some kind of people who can guide me. What is my next step? Where I should go next? So these questions I was asking myself, and during this, I. By my two friends, a counselor, they recommended this course. So I joined this course, and so there was a desire, obviously, to grow with intention, to lead with the clarity. There was no clarity that what role I will play in future, and to be part of something that extends beyond individual success. So I wanted to challenge my perspective, learn alongside driven individuals. So and better understanding of the kind of impact I want to create long term. And during this course, I've been selected for standing as a counselor. So, now I'm standing as a counselor. So my election is on 7th of May in my area.
Yeah.
So
You're
this is
the poster
obviously a
girl of the
big thing for me.
program.
Yeah, yeah, I know. So
Absolutely.
it
Well,
was
no, I
very
mean, it's
beneficial for
fantastic
me.
progress.
Yeah, it
And
really, really beneficial
Tell
for
her
me.
good
I
luck,
know my
Noreen. Good
yeah.
luck.
I is there. Diane is here. So it's lovely, because I know myself, self-awareness and clarity with purpose, my leadership, and what I can do for community more. So I think this
Fab.
is the next
Well,
step.
and I might come back for some of that shortly. I'll just come back to you, Ahiz. I mean, Noreen's talked a little bit. I guess to put it in a nutshell, without putting words in your mouth, Noreen, it gave you I guess a safe space and some focused
Yes,
time to really
yes,
help you look at where you wanted to go next. And you've certainly put your action into
yes.
real progress on the journey that you've been on. Ahiz, do you want to tell us a little bit more about some of your highlights from the program and some of the interesting things that you've been doing? Towards the later stages and beyond the program. Oh, I think you just went back on mute by accident there. There you go. Oh, and again.
Yeah,
There
can you
you
hear
go.
me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Nikayla, and thank you, Noreen, for highlighting some of the. So for us, we were able to just mix in with professionals and leaders in the room every other week, and I felt like it's very advisable to actually attend the in-person program because we were able to meet so many professionals and civic leaders, and I was able to get some advice from the Yasmin Dar, who was the former mayor of Manchester, and we went on to host roundtables with members of parliament, Salford Member of Parliament, Rebecca Long Bailey, with about 35 stakeholders, of which over half of them were young people. And, just it helps us to project the impact and just direct the impact to where it really truly mattered. And the ability to actually engage with civic leaders and understand where they're coming from, because understanding also that these civic leaders need us as much as we need them, and they need the voices from the community, especially, the program being designed for people from underrepresented global majority backgrounds. And having a voice and a voice at the tables where decisions are made. So we've been able to do that and enhance our ability to do more for young people in Salford. Roundtables. We've also engaged with the police within Salford as well, where it comes to hate crime initiatives that we're currently designing and radio programs as well. And it's extended beyond the borders of the UK as well, setting up our charity initiatives all the way in Africa, Nigeria, so quite a lot has come
Lots
out
in
of it.
there. And
Yeah.
I know, obviously Deputy Mayor Kate Green and Andy Burnham himself, back this program, attend program days where, at certain points of the program, and you're hoping to sort of build on your links with those as well. And I know you've been quite involved in some of the alumni network events that hopefully you've found useful to build your peer network, and some of the key topics on that, things like that aren't necessarily core to the program but are helpful for lots of people coming onto it, things like sustaining what you do, looking at different strategies and income generation models for work. Because what we find on the program, and we've probably got a mixture of people here, is that people come from the public sector, the private sector, and the voluntary community sector, or they may have worked across some of those spheres throughout their career. There's no right or wrong place or no right or wrong sort of starting point. And I would say around sort of 60% or so tend to be people who've linked to some sort of civic or social community organisation, social enterprise, charity, and the rest might be working in the public sector, or they may be working in the private sector. And we've had people who are currently unemployed as well on the programme. So it's open to all from whatever sort of walk of life, walk of work, or otherwise that you may be involved with. I'm going to come back and get some more reflections off you both in just a second, if I may, but I'm just going to rattle through a little bit more of what the programme's about before we hear from your sort of tips for the group in just a second. So thank you for some initial thoughts there, and we'll come back. I just was going to just give a couple of other sort of goals and highlights, really. This is just a selection of images from previous years. As I say, it's very immersive, very practical, lots going on, lots of panels, lots of conversations, online and offline webinars as well, that we put on. The offer, I just wanted to highlight this. So what our local authorities in partnership with the programme team are trying to do is help you access different kinds of support. So there's people from local authorities who attend the programme day, and they also attend the graduation event. They also aim to meet with their local participants to explore opportunities. What I will say is that every borough is slightly different in its makeup, in its capacity, and what it has available. But in principle, over the course of the 9 months, if not, into the full year, there are different opportunities such as shadowing civic leaders, attending different kinds of meetings that might be of interest to people, making connections with different kinds of officers or colleagues across the councils that may be areas of leadership interest or otherwise to yourselves. Both the local authorities, ourselves, and our local infrastructure organisation colleagues can try and help provide information on wider opportunities, and there are other ways of linking to strengthen diversity, equity, and inclusion support. And I think more often than not, it's our programme participants that can teach can teach others a lot about this, as much as the councils have some of that expertise themselves. So that's an offer that we seek to build across the local authorities for yourselves. I've just some headlines here. I'm sorry, it's a lot of stats at lunchtime, but it was just to give you a feel for what does this programme achieve, and what do our programme participants tell us it does. And this shows you that the orange line was from year one, and then the other stats are from just recently at the end of this second year, just to show the kind of consistency that we've been able to achieve across both programme years, and we would seek to hope to achieve again in this coming year. So clearly increased connection and access to public leaders with influence, creating more diverse leaders elevated and recognised to lead change. We're also interested in things like diversifying supply chains. So we've got that in there. Flourish as a social enterprise support organisation, seeking to build strong social economies. We have our own sort of areas of interest as well around some of this. Increased numbers of people who are able to, progress in their own leadership journey, and then clearly the confidence of leaders increasing is key. There's a whole bunch of little stats here that will be on the slides when they come out, but the key part of the programme is helping people to become more aware of what public appointments are, whether that be councillors, school governors, magistrates, even becoming a chaplain. There's so many broad public appointments out there. Becoming charity trustees or non-executive directors on public sector or charity sector boards, and high percentage here have had their awareness increased. 100% of our participants say they feel more able to influence change compared to the start of the programme, down to lots of different factors, down to increased networks, more confidence to speak up and act, and being a little bit more strategic as well around the way that they operate. And we've got one here around, increased confidence and capability, and some, quotes there from colleagues who've been on the programme before. And as it says, it really does create the space to remind people that, they're not alone. It gives people that practical and theoretical route to developing their leadership skills, and just access to such a broad range of speakers, and hopefully builds recognition in numerous ways. So that's a little flavour of things there. I was just going to come back to both Ahiz and Noreen before I share a few tips on applications and strengthening your applications. But Ahiz, I might come to you, or Noreen, I'll come to you first, because I know you said you might need to shoot. Are you there, Noreen? I just guess any reflections for you on what a key highlight from the programme was, a turning point or a light bulb moment for you that made you take those steps that you have to become a counsellor and step forward. So yeah, a turning point or a light bulb moment for you, and then perhaps anything that you would recommend to people listening today, if they're thinking about applying, how to make the best of the opportunity.
Yeah, I think the highlights, I would say the people, without a doubt, because being in a room with other individuals, they're sharing their stories, their challenges, support, and inspiring, for both themselves and the other people. I think it's more open. You are talking with each other, you are listening, sharing your stories, your struggle, your challenges. This was the highlight. I think I was listening all of them, and also the moments that pushed me out of my comfort zone. So my comfort zone was quiet and listening people, that's all. And I was not sure what am I right to say? Obviously it's build up my confidence as well, and my sharing my ideas as well. So those were the ones that stayed with me the most. And actually this course, beyond my expectations, I would say that, because I came in looking for growth, but it left me with the clarity, more clarity, growth, connections, and a renewed sense of direction. So I have a sense of direction now. So yeah,
Excellent.
it was very meaningful experience, and I'm carrying this forward.
Well, long may it continue, hopefully, Noreen, because with the
Yeah.
alumni network and various other things. And I'm just looking at this photograph, the one where everybody's there. You're there in the red, right in the middle. And when I think,
Oh
yes,
yes.
you were a
Yes.
little bit, I wouldn't say shy, you're not shy, but like you said, you were
Not
quieter,
sure.
more reflective,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
more introverted. Likewise with his, I'll never forget him telling me, he leads from the shadows. And we were like, well,
Yeah.
we've got to change that if he's open to it. So his, perhaps some highlights from yourself. Or a final highlight, I suppose, and anything that you'd think our listeners here should bear in mind if they're thinking of joining the program. Oh, I don't know if you're on mute.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. In fact, I kept wanting to hide behind the scenes and just make impact silently. Or you get to a point where it becomes impossible to make impact when you have all sorts of leaders pushing you forward, and you realize how more impactful your voice is when you stand before leaders. I got the opportunity to speak before Andy Burnham, Kate Green, Deputy Mayor, and that was one of the highlights for me because that really, I believe visibility is currency. That really opened up a lot of doors and made the community I represent believe in everything that we're doing. And also the power of just sharing lived experiences, and you find out that other people around you share the same experiences and you don't feel alone anymore. So I did mention that it was quite therapeutic having all sorts of leaders. So that was really, really impactful. And just to mention, there's the tendency where we're from global majority backgrounds where there's the imposter syndrome, generally where we don't step forward for leadership opportunities and roles. This just speaking and sitting down and listening to people gave me the opportunity to break that syndrome that possibly existed that I didn't even know existed, and that's put a lot of faith in other people that I represent. So those were the highlights for me.
Any suggestions for
Yeah.
people who, I mean, we'll take a few questions in a sec, but any suggestions for people thinking of applying or thinking of making how to make the most of the program?
Just make sure when you do get selected, make sure you attend the in-person events, the in-person program days as well. Do everything you can, break your back to attend because it's worth it. And just make the most of the connections, the alumni network, and put your best foot forward. Reflect when you're applying. Think of all the things that made you a leader or that could potentially bring you out as a leader, and put it in the application because you will be selected, and you are a voice, so use it.
Thanks, Ahiz. I'm going to some questions here. I just thought whether before Noreen may have to go, is there anything else you wanted to say or add, Noreen, to the conversation
Um,
we've just been having?
yeah, and after that, I want to go if you don't mind,
Of
please. Yeah,
course, yeah.
I just want to add up. I mean, he's already said that, but for anyone about to start the course, I mean, program, they should make the most of it. Like they should be open. So the more honest they are about their goals, challenges, and ambitions, the more they will get out of the experience. And then they need to lean into discomfort. Like the moments they stretch themselves once they shape you the most. So don't stay always the comfort zone. I mean, try to start conversations, listen to other people, and share your experiences as well. Then obviously networking is very important. So when you meeting other people here in the groups, make your networks. So we still are in a group, and we are sharing our successes, sharing our challenges, our programs. So this is a really good strong thing, I would say. You need to make them network, and don't shy away from them. And then invest in people, that's it. And take time to reflect. It's easy to move quickly, but the real growth comes from pausing. So the
Mm,
power of pausing, I don't
really
forget that,
important
the
point.
power of pause. Yeah, so this is the very important as well, and understanding how the learning applies to you. So yeah, think beyond the program and use it's a foundation. So
Mm,
this is very
brilliant.
important, and for me it's a very powerful experience. And good luck for everyone, and I'm sure you will get out of it what you put in it. Thank you very much.
Perfect, Noreen. No, some great tips there, and absolutely, reflection is key, isn't it? It is a
Yeah,
very fast-paced program, and we
it
do
is.
try to make sure that we both build in reflection during the days, both in conversation and written, so people have different methods of reflecting, and those peer support circles offer some of that too. I'm just going to start to go down some of the questions I can see. There aren't loads in the chat, and then I'll come to some questions there. So
I
somebody
can leave now. Thank you.
of
Thank you so
course,
much.
thank
Yeah.
you. So yes, the course is open to everyone and anybody, whatever your educational background. If you've got degrees and postgraduate diplomas, fabulous, and that may stand you in some good stead. But likewise, if you've been busy volunteering for the last 10 years and you've been out of any learning for some time, that's fine too. Yeah, there's no right or wrong educational sort of stance in coming into this. It's about your aptitude for leadership, your interest, your willingness to act and grow. I think Mandy was asking some questions. I'm just coming up. Oh, you certainly had your hand up. Oh, and I'm just rolling down. So, do a little alert, Nicola. What do you think Great Masters will look like? Ooh, I like that question. I'll come back to that. Let me cogitate, Ella, and I'll ask Andy Burnham would be my question. I'll tell you what he said at the graduation, which was very touching. You mentioned the course was aimed. No, this course. Oh, so this course is aimed at. It's an adult civic leadership course, and don't get me wrong, anybody over 18 is an adult, and they can. Anybody sort of 25 to 30 plus can come on this program, but the program is called Youth Leads, and it's almost runs in tandem. So it was Emily that was asking about this, and it's for I think it's I saw there's a Saeed on the call. I don't think it's Saeed actually. I think it's a different Saeed, but basically, don't quote me. I think it's 16 to 25-year-olds go on youth leads typically. So there is that little bit of crossover where we do have people coming on the program that are, in their late 20s, early 30s, and we make sure that there's a ratio to make sure that younger emerging leaders are coming on. But it's the youth leads program that for the younger leaders who perhaps have less leadership experience. Mandy's got a hand up. Had you got a question, Mandy? Oh,
Sorry, I wish I could do my picture, but I've got this horrendous, otherwise you would have seen. But you've seen me,
I know
Nicola.
what you look like, Mandy. Go on. Had you got a question?
Yes, I do. I do have a question. Just a minute. I wrote it down so that I don't just go. You know me. First, I had two questions. The first was, how will the selection process look like? But I've seen, will it be a kind of also, will you look into the 10 boroughs as well of Greater Manchester?
So I can certainly answer that question quickly. So basically, we have an independent panel, and some of them it's made up of the program team, some of the people on our steering group. So the program has an independent steering group that's made up of different senior leaders from diverse cultural backgrounds, lots of different kinds of expertise, and some local authority and local infrastructure organisation people on that. And so typically the selection process has some of the steering group, at least one or two members of the past programme alumni, so our programme ambassadors get involved, and some of the programme team to look at, I guess, skills, strengths, group dynamics, people's aptitude, and skill, will, and passion for wanting to grow as a leader, and people's level of interest in exploring public appointments and what kind of impact they may make in the future. So these are the sorts of things that we're looking at when we're thinking who will make a good cohort this coming year.
Right.
And
Okay.
all 10 boroughs, yes. So there's at least two people selected from each of the boroughs, and then a bundle of others. We take about 30. If I'm honest,
I get you.
in past
But
years we've taken around 33, and we
yeah.
can't, it's that close to call. We'll flex if we think we've really got to, take 33 instead of 30,
Yeah.
whatever it might be.
Okay. The other thing is I had put in the chat line to say, hearing from the two alumni.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so inspiring. You can see the confidence, oozing out of them, but the passion as well. The passion for their communities, and although they're coming from global majority, they feel part and parcel of Greater Manchester. So thank you so much. I was really inspired. But my last question is, or rather, it's a comment really rather than a question. I said, I like this program because it focuses on Greater Manchester. Many of the other leadership programs like Operation Black Vote, the one by Agbero and the one by Bilbao, they are all national. So what I like about this program is that, yes, you've said it, it is looking at far between, because Greater Manchester is not in a vacuum. Will be, we will need to know about the national level and also the other, Scotland, Wales. But the fact is, the focus is in Greater Manchester, our problems here, our challenges there. So that's what I wanted to say, that thank you so much. This is just so fantastic. Thanks so much, Flourish, and the Lead for Legacy as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So Absolutely. Sharon was very clear, and as as was Andy Burnham when he set this brief. I think they've learned over time, and as much as there's the national picture, really supporting diverse leaders to lead change in Manchester, Greater Manchester, is what's key about this programme. So yeah, thank you for highlighting that. If there's any other questions, feel free to put these in the chat before I do some sort of final reflections. But Ella, I was just going to come back to you. My brain needed to cogitate a little bit on your fantastic question. So, what do you think Greater Manchester will look like if this cohort goes well? I mean, his could answer this as well, really, from my point of view. But ultimately, it's having even more leaders who are ready to step into their power. What we find is, as I said before, there's no shortage of talent across our diverse, cultural communities in Greater Manchester. What there often are, self-imposed barriers, actual physical barriers, systems barriers. There are all sorts of barriers, and I think when the cohort goes well, we have another 30 dynamic leaders ready to lead change, just like you've heard from two on the programme. What I'm hoping now that we're in the third year of delivering this programme, and now we've really built a level of relationship willingness and communication across the local authorities, helping them play their part in creating and broadening opportunities that are out there. Often it can be quite hidden. Where are these public appointments? How do we go for them? Are there even opportunities available? And I think this year, in linking up further with our local authorities, in bringing in even more people from public appointments, both from the cohort and from the broader public, it will help us highlight how best to navigate, spot, and create the kinds of opportunities that need to be created in some instances, whilst further public appointment opportunities come to light. I don't know if you wanted to elaborate, Ella, on your kind of question, or whether I've kind of said enough. Oh, good.
No, I think that's perfect. Thank you. Just curious, but thank you. That's really
Yeah, I mean,
insightful.
there's many other things aside. There's we'll have even more webinars and sources of content that people can access whether they're on the program or not, and we'll have an ever more interesting and growing set of additional events and leadership support activities being led and curated by our alumni network. So there's it's going to be exciting. What has his gone on to do since this cohort? Well, we can ask him. He was highlighting one of the things he did was convene a meeting with Rebecca Longs Bailey at his social enterprise premises and create a round table with various young people. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add within your own organisation of his and the connections that you're making and using.
Thanks for the question. So we've been able to, design, some of the youths have designed their own programs, youth-led programs, and we've given them the leadership mantle, based on some of the things we've learned here, and we've somewhat transferred that knowledge to the youths to lead their own radio programs, their own fashion design initiatives. So they've gone on to create their own workshops, and I think we've empowered up to 40 young people, about 20 since the program started, since then. And outside of that, just to add to Emily's question as well, Nikela's highlighted some of the things that what Greater Manchester will be like, but there's been a lot of cohesion, allyship, just by mixing with some of the leaders, and we've co-designed programs with leaders within the cohorts as well. So quite a lot has come out of just being in this program, being part of this group of leaders.
Hopefully that answers your questions, Joe. If there are other questions, wave at me, or or pop them in the chat. I just wanted to touch on what does a strong application look like. I don't have a slide on this. Ultimately, you will complete your expressions of interest as you see fit, and answer the questions accordingly. In the chat, I'm just about to put the Google link to the expression of interest form. You may have already completed this. I've just popped it in there. I think that's the right one. Really, it's an opportunity for you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and what's motivating you to want to come on this program. It really helping us to understand your motivation will help. I think helping us understand which borough or couple of boroughs that you see yourselves acting as a social leader in and the change that you might make there is a key factor and helps particularly others across our program look at what the impact and the legacy will be. I think it's looking as well at what kind of support you see yourself as needing, and being having a some as much as you can a kind of a clear objective or couple of objectives that you see in your own personal and professional development and the way that you'd like to. A bit like Noreen said, she wasn't quite sure at the start. You don't have to be super crystal clear, but having some goals, having a sense of how you might use this learning and networks and connections in the future to improve things for the better in your community, and how you will serve others, I suppose, in some respects to do that. Those are my top tips, really. I'm just scrolling down the form here to think what else could I suggest. But really, it's about what motivates you, what are you passionate about, what do you want to see change, and what do you want to lead change in, and how is this? How are you going to make the most of the opportunity, both during the program and beyond? Is really what we're wanting to understand, so that we can help those people who are really ready for it now and are going to be able to lead legacy, with the support of the cohort and others. So hopefully that's clear enough. It isn't a mega long form, you'll be glad to hear. There aren't word counts, but we do ask you to be as concise as you can, and that's it really. Any final questions? As I say, we will share the slides. We will also share a series of webinars that are sitting there on our YouTube channel. Over the last 2 years, there's about 6 webinars that already exist on a range of topics to help you explore public appointments and your readiness for these sorts of things, whether you get on the programme or not. And I will just see what's coming up next. So ultimately, just as a quick recap, 30th of April is your deadline. So it seems like a long way off, but please don't delay. Applicants will be notified by mid-May, or sort of mid to late May, as to whether or not they've been successful. And as you'll have seen, that first programme day starts the first week of June, the first Thursday in June. And then you will come to hear about alumni network events and opportunities anyway. And a date, save the date, hot off the press, 28th of May, the Alumni Network are running an event in Manchester at Friends Meeting House. So you will get an invitation to that event. The other thing I will just highlight is GM Equal, a different network, have an event coming up on the 23rd of April, if you weren't already aware. So it might be worth Googling GM Equal and an event they've got coming up, and we will share the link to that anyway. When we thank you for coming and give you all the final bits of information, we'll just share a couple of links. And likewise, I said we'll also share the links of our webinars that are coming up. But unless anybody's got any other questions or closing thoughts, I will let you. Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm.
I have, Nicola. I just wanted to say thank you so much, because the newsletter is packed with information, even though sometimes we don't attend your events, but there's information on funding, and I got a 1,000 funding from that information
Oh,
from the
wow, great.
newsletter. So yeah,
Oh,
so I just wanted
brilliant.
to say thank
That's
you
the
very much.
Flourish newsletter, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, continue
Oh,
giving us that information and also
no
about
problem.
other events across Greater Manchester. So really,
We'll
just a
certainly share all that.
huge thank you so much,
No problems at all.
Flourish.
That's
Mhm.
quite all right.
Thank you.
And just checking, anybody got anything else they wanted to check or ask or reflect on? Just checking down my chat here. Can't see anything else. There we go. Lovely. Well, yeah, cogitate, see if this is for you. Please do spread the word. As I say, particularly in the broader boroughs. I know there are some boroughs that get more applicants than others. So certainly, you know, Wigan, Bury, Bolton, Tameside. Sometimes, there's some of the those sorts of boroughs. Stockport last year didn't have as many applicants as the year before. So I would say, particularly if you're outside of Manchester and Salford and you're thinking, oh, is this for me? Then please do consider it. We do move locations around. Nobody's asked about where is it, what happens. But ultimately, I would say about half the programme days are in central Manchester, just because it's easy to get on public transport and other methods. But likewise, we do move some of our programme days to different boroughs and make those as accessible as possible. So great. Well, I'll let you get off and have your lunch or whatever you're getting up to. Thank you so much, Ahiz, for taking the time, and Noreen, to come and share your experiences. It's always very cathartic for us to see how far you've all come, and yeah, let's see what the next year brings.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Nicola.
No
Appreciate it.
problem.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye. Oh, have
Yeah,
See
a
you
everyone.
soon.
lovely.
All the
Hope the
best.
weather changes.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody. Thanks
Okay.
for your
Bye bye.
time.
Oh, bye bye.
Bye for now. Bye bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.